The TrekWorks YouTube channel is sponsored by HDA Model Works, suppliers of scale lighting products, detail accessory parts, and complete model kits. Visit HDAModelWorks.com today.
Hello there again, everybody. Boyd here with you. Well, for the last couple evenings now, I've been working on my Quint shark truck from the movie Jaws. Been having a lot of fun with this thing. I'll put up a picture here in the upper left of the two kits I've been working with. I have the 64 Chevy pickup truck kit from AMT and the 65 Ford utility truck from Moebius Models. And you can see here I'm using the Chevy cab and the whole front half for the drivetrain, the engine, the frame, and everything. The back half I used the Ford frame and the utility box. There'll be a slideshow here at the end showing you some of the work, but I did a total rework on the utility box. I shortened it, completely sanded off all the detail on all the panels and rescribed everything to make the wood paneling on the side and make the panels similar to the way they look with the actual movie truck, which I'll put up a picture of here for you. I'm working with this one picture only. There was never much footage of the truck being used in the film. I was able to find some footage of the truck pulling up in front of the courthouse. In my finale video, I'll show that little clip. So I'm kind of just taking a guess at some of this stuff, so I just kind of tried to match up what I could see. And, you know, thinking about the truck, being a New England truck, you know, Martha's Vineyard, which is an island off the East Coast up by New York. It's going to be a salty environment. The truck in the film would have been about 11 or 12 years old, so I figured it would have a certain amount of wear and tear on it. You can see there's definitely some wear and tear in the picture, especially on the rear half of the truck. So I just, you know, did a lot of work on the utility box. The main thing that I did was kind of rescribed everything, and then I reshaped these wheel wells and to make them more look like they match the Chevy. And I used some copper wire here, which you'll see in the slideshow picture. Sanded down all the original wheel lip and everything and used copper wire, glued it on there, and then just painted over it. I kind of chamfered the edge a little bit to make it kind of blend in here like it should. The only thing that I didn't really catch mainly was the latch here on this forward door. It's supposed to be on this side of the door, but I just didn't really want to go about, you know, redoing that entire thing, so I'm going to live with that part. But the shape of the doors are good. These wood panels here, I put a lot of work into that. I used some small styrene strip here and here to create this detail, scribed in the extra lines. On the back here, I decided to use the Chevy tailgate. You're supposed to use the smaller kind of short tailgate that this one comes with, but I thought this one would look kind of cool, you know, and I was able to beat it up and weather it up a little bit. I made, you know, I scratch made all the latch mechanism here with the cables and all that. The rear bumper is off of the Ford kit. Now, I did a lot of weathering using the rust powder that I have and some different artist chalks and some, I used a method of rubbing, you know, dusting on, airbrush painting a little bit, dry brush painting. Mainly here, the dry brushing was on the, to get that wood panel detail there. A whole bunch of techniques. I'd take little powders and just kind of rub them into the paint. Now, on the paint on this thing, I purposely wanted this truck to look kind of dull. I didn't want it to look, you know, like it had a nice paint job on it. So I took a satin black and then sprayed it on from a little bit of a distance so it would have a little bit of texture on it. And I took a paper towel and I kind of, you know, rubbed over it here and there to kind of highlight some spots and make them look a little bit more smooth and shiny and some more oxidized looking and faded. And then leaving a little bit of that texture on there in some spots. When I took my gray and brown artist chalk, you can see by rubbing on it, it you know, worked right into that texture and made it look like it's, you know, really multi-layered and really in there really deep. There's a bunch of little chips and scratches. I spent hours on this thing. You know, wherever I did scratches, I actually dug into the paint so it would have a real texture on it and stuff like that. The interior color is an original GM color that I sort of matched. My uncle had one of these trucks similar to this. I think it was a 63 or 64, maybe a 65. And I just remember it had an all metal interior, including the dash. And it had they didn't have many interior color options back then, but the color I remembered in his truck was a sort of a pewterish, semi-metallic, not a super metal flake metallic, but it had a sort of semi-metallic finish on it. And it was kind of a brownish pewter color. So that's the color I went with on this. They called for a dove gray, but I think this looks more like what I remember these trucks having. The steering wheel, the column, and everything was all the same color. The kit comes with some nice detail. The dash is really detailed. You even get a glass lens to put over the instrument cluster and all that. I just kind of grungied it up a little bit on the inside, even on the edges of the door tops here on the inside. I kind of scraped them up and weathered them a little bit, like your arms would be rubbing on it a lot. And just kind of little things like that. Now the rear wheels are from the Ford kit because they had that nice stock steel wheel with the lug nuts. Up here in the front, these are actual hubcaps off of a 55 Chevy Bel Air. I looked on the picture you see there that I have of the truck. You can't see, you can only see a part of the hubcap, but in the shot I have of the truck pulling up, I got a good view of what that hubcap was, and that's exactly what it was. I was really fortunate to have the exact right hubcaps for this. And just kind of took a guess on whether it was just missing the one here or he had them both, so I just decided to have them both off on the back. Got some stuff going on in the back of the truck there, got some chain. Now my good friend Cal Sweet is making me a bunch of little accessories to put in the back. I'm not really good at, that kind of thing. He's making me, hopefully we'll have a couple of the, the barrels that you saw in the Orca. I figured he might have a couple of those spare in the back of this thing he was hauling around, and just some general, I'm calling it Quint junk, some stuff that Quint would have in the back of his fishing truck. Maybe a couple gas cans, and maybe some fishing gear, and a life jacket, some stuff like that. So we'll have some extra detail to add there. I'm actually, Cal's actually doing me a little Quint figure to put on the inside too, which is one of the reasons there's a couple things I haven't done yet. I've got I'll pop the hood off, and I haven't got the box glued on it yet, but I'll take that off so I can show you the detail of the engine compartment. I did a lot of work there too. Did a lot of weathering on the with rust and stuff and grease and stains and dirt on the engine, but I don't have the upper and lower radiator hoses on yet because I've still got to be able to take the cab off to get Quint in there. But all the mirrors and everything on here off of the Ford kit too, which were the exact ones that I needed, it turns out, which is really cool. The little spotlight here is kind of a kit bash scratch build thing. I scratch built the bracket, and the actual light is off of an old 32 Roadster kit that had a bunch of different size lights you could choose from, and this was the smallest one I had. I think it looks pretty good. I think it looks in scale. But here's the back. I've got everything in the, I used the back half of the Ford frame. The reason I had to do that is because the Chevy frame had a big curve over the wheel arch, and the bed wouldn't have sat flat on that, and it would have sat up way too high. So in order to do that, I had to sacrifice a little bit. You can see I don't have much clearance between the rear end and the frame there. In fact, there's no clearance, but we'll just pretend we didn't see that. I did put the shocks in there and everything. But, I wanted to use the Chevy trailing arm setup. I didn't want to have the Ford leaf spring underneath there because, from the back, you'd be able to see it. Let me see if I can get a better angle here to show you the bottom. And I just grungied up the whole bottom of the thing. Rust. It came with a nice spare tire setup, so I put that in, did the rusty exhaust, and greased up the engine and everything real good. If you guys are seeing all that. But everything fit together, pretty decent. So from looking from the side and looking from the back, the chassis looks correct and everything. And that's one of the things I wanted to do. I had to fiddle around with the box. I put a couple spacers underneath of it to get the height where I wanted it to be. And then it has to sit on here just so, and I have to make sure when I glue this down finally I get it all centered up real nice. But it's coming along really good, you guys. I'm really happy with it. Of course, you can see that right off the bat it doesn't have the shark on the side and the Quint name and the charter for hire here. Those are decals that are being made by Jerry, and they should be here in a few days. And I'll come back with a final reveal on this and show you how it looks all done. We're also going to do a cool little backdrop for it to give it more of a Jaws setting, something that we both thought of that we thought would be pretty cool. But it's been a fun, really fun project. I have fun doing these kind of jobs compared to having to do, like doing an Enterprise where everything has to be perfect and clean, and you have to be so careful. Where this, you can just kind of cut loose and just have a lot of fun. And I really like practicing with the different types of weathering mediums and stuff like that, and just kind of going to town and just kind of going with what you feel like, So I think it's pretty cool, though, and I think it's going to be neat. It's kind of a one-of-a-kind thing, and hope you guys enjoyed seeing it. So this will be kind of a short video. We'll go into it a little bit more when we come back for the final, and we'll show you all the little details added in and everything. I think it should turn out pretty cool. Thanks for checking this out, you guys. We'll catch you next time. Right after I finish up the Quint truck here in a few days, we're going to be starting on the big Space 1999 Eagle kit. And while I'm doing that one, I'll be back with a kind of a video in between there to get the Aztecs done on the 1/1000th scale Discovery Enterprise. So we'll see you with that all coming up very soon, guys. Take care, have a great weekend, and happy modeling, everyone.